Hi, Assalamualaikum. We meet again in the part 2 in which we're going into the domestic application of boiler. Okay, mostly used in the office and also in the homes. Okay, bear in mind in Malaysia, we don't have heating system in our house because we live in a tropical climate. Usually it applied to the four season climate during winter. When it's very cold, so they need to heat up their homes and office. We are mostly involved with the air conditioning system. But for the water heating, yeah, we do apply in Malaysia also. And mostly we for the small houses we will use the compact water heater, and for hotels and big houses they might use some of the boiler system. Okay, so there's a few types in the domestic, the domestic for heating. Okay, heating up the place, and also hot water. So first we look into the back boiler. This one is for the small, and this one is the traditional old school type of boiler. Okay, it's hardly seen nowadays because it's have changed into more modern technology system, boiler system that using condensing boiler as the working principle. Okay, and under condensing boiler working principle, we have conventional boiler, we have combination boiler, and also system boiler. So each of these boiler type depends on the size of your home or office. Okay, let's look into the back boiler. Okay, the old school type. If you can see from the picture here, they have chimney. Okay, they have open fire here, and they use the fire to heat up the water. Okay, and the water will be pumped throughout the house and get into the radiator, and also for the hot water system. Okay, they use gas, oil, or coal, arang batu, or sometimes firewood. Okay, they use wood to get the source of heat or combustion. Okay, and usually they have this chimney. Okay, if you look at the houses in the four season climate, usually they have the chimney to release the smoke or the gases. And the concept here is to heat up the water. Okay, when you heat up the water, and then the hot water will be pumped through the radiator, and the radiator will heat the space up and use the water or store the water in the hot water tank to be used for cleaning up, for mandi, showering, and so on. Okay. Usually they use heating stove or open fire, like this one is open fire. Okay, and provide room heat and also hot water. Okay, okay, these are the system that you need to know. These are the working principle. How does it work? Okay, so these are the domestic tank, or we known as the storage tank for cool water, and the cold water, okay, will be heat up using this stove, okay, or this what we call a fireplace. Okay, usually they use electricity or gas fire as the combustion source. So what the principle here is the cold water from this tank, okay, will gathered in this cylinder. Okay, oops, and then this will heat up, okay, the water inside this fireplace, and the hot water will be pumped into this radiator to fill up, and the room will be heated up. Okay, and if you want to use for the water tap, hot water, it will be stored inside in this cylinder. Okay, expansion tank is used to maintain the pressure. Okay, so these are the working principle. It's very simple. Okay, cold water from the storage tank, okay, and then go into this fireplace, get heat up and pump into the piping system, radiator, and the hot water will be stored in the cylinder. Okay, And we need to know the advantage. Okay, what are the advantage? They use gravity feed. Okay, and the main advantage for this back boiler is small and compact size because you use the fireplace. Okay, and it's reliable and without loss of pressure, so you can use many tap at once, so they won't have any problem in the water pressure. Okay, the disadvantage. Okay, these are the main disadvantage why people don't use back boiler anymore nowadays, because it's low energy efficiency because you use open fire, and this is the main problem in which it will produce toxic fume if you not really have a good ventilation system to release, or exhaust system to release the smoke. It can pose hazard to your home. For example, the poisonous carbon monoxide, you never know. Okay, it fill up the house and suddenly everyone in the house died of the poisonous carbon monoxide. So nowadays most of the country have banned back boiler, okay, due of the safety. Okay, these are some of the questions in the final and also in the test previous year. So there's one question on back boiler, so we will discuss this in the live session later on. Let's go into the condensing boiler. What is condensing boiler actually? Okay, it's a modern principle to replace the back boiler. Okay, most of the homes and office using the condensing principle, in which they maximize the fuel efficiency. So they have increased the efficiency, and they use also they have increased the safety of the boiler system. Okay, later on I will show you the video on the principal working of the condensing boiler. Okay, typically the high efficiency can go up to 90%. Okay, so these are the diagram, okay, in which we have this is the burner, in which this is the combustion will produce the heat here, and then the blue one is the cold water, okay, and the red one here is the heat up water, so it's a hot water here. And these are the radiator. Radiator is used to release the heat into the room, okay, or the space. And this is the water that condensate, and the airflow is from here. And what happened, they will heat up the water inside this tube, and then they will produce some heat. Okay, so the heat will be flow into this section to preheat the cold water that come in. So the water from here will come in here to this section first, and they will use the heat that recycle from this side. So the heat will go here and preheat the water. So when the preheat water reach this part, is already have a higher temperature. So the process of heating up the hot water here will take less time. So they use the recycled heat from this side. Okay, and it will produce condensate, and the condensate water will or need to be drained out from this side. Okay, let's look into the video itself.
Properly designed hydronic systems provide clean, energy-efficient comfort in a versatile package. But the efficiency of a space heating hydronic system is only as good as the boiler that powers the whole process. If we look inside a conventional non-condensing boiler, we see that combusted gas hits the heat exchanger, which raises the water temperature before it goes out into the system. However, there's also a lot of extra heat that is sucked out the exhaust flue, with as much as 30% of the energy being wasted. Replacing the conventional boiler with a condensing boiler can add efficiency to any hydronic system. Condensing boilers have two heat exchangers. The first, like the non-condensing boiler, is heated by the gas burner. The second captures the excess exhaust gas heat from the primary exchanger. The heat that is normally exhausted is waste. The high-temperature water vapor in the exhaust gas condenses into liquid water, releasing a large amount of heat that is transferred to the cool water as it first enters through the secondary heat exchanger. The transfer preheats the water in the system before it's brought up to the desired temperature by the primary heat exchanger. By preheating the entering cool water, the primary heat exchanger has to do less work to heat the water to the final temperature. Meanwhile, the exhaust gas condensate harmlessly drains out of the system. Reusing the exhaust gas heat results in far lower flue temperatures than those coming from conventional boilers. And that extra heat coming out of the flue of conventional boilers is wasted energy. Condensing boiler efficiency ranges from 84 to 98% depending on conditions. New conventional boilers max out at 82%, while older units can fall as low as 65%. According to the Building Research Establishment, or BRE, in the UK, condensing boilers are more efficient than standard units in every operating condition. That's a bold statement, but one that makes perfect sense when you consider the ingenious design of the condensing boiler.
Okay, so you can see that's why they use condensing boiler nowadays. Okay, what are the advantage? Savings. Okay, just now we saw that it the efficiency is very high, up to 90%. Okay, and waste heat, okay, from the gases can be used to preheat the cold water. Okay, so they don't release the heat. Before this, they release the heat to the atmosphere, but now they recycle or they reuse the waste. Okay, so it's greener to operate because you use less gases to burn. Okay, these are also disadvantage. Okay, the less reliable and prone to breakdowns. Okay, that's the disadvantage. And you need a require professional installation for the condensing boiler. And since it's involved with the heat exchanger, with the piping and also the heating, so may corrode an aluminum exchanger inside the boiler. So you need to be very careful on the maintenance of the condensing boiler. And a bit expensive compared to other like back boiler system. So condensing, but they give you a high efficiency. Okay. Okay, these are some of the questions. With the aid of diagram, determine the suitable boiler. Okay, they give the situation here. If you see the word recycle the heat, okay, or preheat water, all this involved with the condensing boiler. Okay, we will discuss this in the live session afterwards. Okay, let's go into the first type of condensing boiler, in which the conventional or regular boiler. Okay, these are the typical. Okay, the system, you need to differentiate between these three. Okay, conventional, combi, and also you need to differentiate with the system. The diagram here for the conventional or regular boiler, they have two tanks here. They have tank for heating for the heat up water, and also for the cold water. Okay, so they have two main tanks for the conventional or regular boiler. See, two tanks in the loft, so you have to put it on top of your roof. Okay, one for cold and one for the expansion tank. Okay, and then these are the working principle. Okay, so here is the boiler, the water is heat up. Okay, and then these are the storage tank. And these are the two tanks that you need to have in the conventional boiler. Okay, let's look in the working principle through this video.
Conventional boilers are the traditional type of boiler and are still a great solution for many homes. They send heated water to your radiators and hot water cylinder, ready to distribute to the hot taps in your home. As long as there is sufficient hot water in the cylinder, you can run multiple hot taps at the same time. This often makes them ideal for families or homes with more than one bathroom. To avoid having to wait for hot water, you can arrange for it to be heated up in advance, at a time of your choosing, using programmable controls. An immersion heater can also be built into your hot water cylinder as a backup, just in case your boiler breaks down, whilst a feed and expansion tank, normally found in the loft, keeps water levels regulated. if you think a conventional boiler is the right option for you.
Okay, so you have looked into the animation of how the conventional boiler work. Yeah, so they must have two water tank up on the loft or the roof. Okay. Okay, look at this advantage. Okay, what are the advantage? It's more reliable. Okay, suitable for low pressure area. Okay, water pressure area means that if your house area have a very low pressure water, you can have this system because they have tank to store the cold water. Okay, it's not direct from the source. Okay, and then provide large volume of hot water, so you can use multiple taps at one time, so they won't have any problem on the low pressure of the hot water when you're using 2 or 3 tap at the same time. And it can work with the older central heating unit that already have in your house. Okay, for the 4 season climate, they have already maybe back boiler, so they need to change into the new system for the condensing boiler system, so they can use the conventional boiler to replace. Okay, the keyword here is they have 2 tank. The disadvantage is more expensive to run because you have 2 tank to maintain. Okay, you need very careful to check, always check on this tank and the system. And it requires space because you have to put the 2 storage tank. Okay, and also you have a hot water storage, the cylinder also, so you need lots of space. If you have small house, it's not really appropriate to use this kind of boiler because it needs space. And then the water tank boiler, okay, they need time to heat up. Okay, so maybe if they have used all the hot water, so they need some times to heat up the water inside the tank. Okay, and since they store the hot water, so the heat loss will occur. So maybe the temperature of the hot water will reduce slowly, but usually they have the insulated the hot water cylinder. Okay, if you can see the picture, they have 2 tank here. Okay, and 1 cylinder for the hot water storage. Okay. Okay, let's look into the combination, or they call it Combi boiler. Okay, what is Combi boiler? Combi boiler is for small houses, compact. Okay, in which you don't have any storage of water tank. Okay, it's very, if you can take a look at this diagram, there's no water tank on the loft or the roof. Okay, and it's suited for a small house with 1 bathroom. Okay, so not the conventional just now for a large house, but for Combi more on the small house with the small family members. Okay, so maybe with 2 kids. Okay, so I think it should be okay. All right, so let's look at the working principle of Combi boiler.
Combi, or combination boilers, are the UK's most popular type of boiler. They provide heat to your radiators, plus limitless hot water on demand by heating water directly from your main supply. This makes them an economical solution for many households, as they only heat the water you use. There's no need to store water, so you don't need room in your loft for a cold water tank, or space for a hot water cylinder. This often makes them great for smaller homes where space is limited. If you're using more than 1 tap at the same time, the flow of hot water can be reduced, meaning they're not always suitable for bigger homes with several bathrooms. If you think
Okay, so we know that the keyword here is direct from the source, so there's no storage of water inside the house. Okay, so it's direct from the boiler. Okay, high efficient water heater, and no separate hot water cylinder, so no cylinder required in the home, and also no water tank required, so you need less space. So good for the small homes. Okay, and it said the word economical just now, so it save money on installation because you don't need to install the tank or the cylinder, and it will be installed in a shorter time compared to the conventional system. The disadvantage is that you cannot use many taps at one time because the pressure will be dropped, because they heat the water that needed only. So the direct from the water source go into the boiler, and then when it heat up, they will go direct to the bathtub or the tap that you open. Okay, so there's no storage, and the flow rate will be affected. Okay. Okay, these are the combination for the Combi we looked just now and the conventional boiler. Okay, it obviously these two tank. Okay, for conventional we have two tank and a cylinder here, but for Combi there's no tank and there's no cylinder, just the boiler itself. Okay, good for small home, no storage of hot water. The water supply direct is small and compact, no tank required, minimum cost. So when we look at the conventional large size home, okay, and then they have a large volume of hot water, so they don't have issue on the limited hot water, and then it can use immersion heater inside the tank. Okay, if they have problem, they will have a second system to backup for conventional boiler. And it also can be paired with the solar or thermal panel for conventional boiler. For Combi, you cannot use with the solar thermal panels. Okay, and it's involved with the high installation cost because you need to install the tank and also the cylinder for hot water. Okay, so I hope you can compare these two in terms of the diagram and also in terms of the where that you use it. One for small home and the other one for large home. Alright, there's another one. So since Combi boiler it's suit for small home, so they say what if they have a medium home? So for medium home, the best thing is to install Combi storage boiler. So means that they use the Combi system and they put the storage or the hot water cylinder inside the system to upgrade from small home to medium home, because they don't need the large size, so they need the medium. So for medium is for Combi storage boiler, in which they're adding a storage tank to help in term of when you're using two tap at the same time for the Combi system, so the hot water never runs out. Okay, and you don't have to wait to recover. Okay, these are the example of the question that we will discuss later on. Okay. Alright, these are the last system that you need to know is the system boiler. Okay, what's the difference between the conventional boiler just now? Okay, they have tank, but they have only one tank here. And also they have cylinder. Okay, it's look like conventional, but okay, the all major components sits in the boiler system itself compared to conventional. The conventional usually the pump is outside, but for the system boiler everything is in the one boiler system, so they don't have separate parts for the pumps and also for the expansion vessel. Okay. Okay, these are the diagram is more clearer to see, in which this is the system boiler. Okay, just one system here. Okay, just one part here, and all the pump is sitting inside it. This okay, and they are using the gas to heat up the water. Okay, and then the water is pumped to the hot water cylinder and stored. So the hot water will be stored inside this cylinder. Okay, so the system boiler will boil the hot water, and the hot water will stay in this hot water cylinder. Okay. So let's look at the advantage. Okay, the advantage is that built-in component. So it's easy to install. And then no need a cold water feed tank. Okay, so you don't have the cold water feed tank. And then fast response, because all the pumps sit inside the boiler. Okay, multiple taps you can use simultaneously. The water heat water from bathroom, from kitchen. Okay, at the same time, because they have the hot water cylinder to store the hot water. Okay, more economical than conventional boiler. Okay, that's the keyword. More economical than conventional boiler, because the system is more simpler compared to conventional. The disadvantage, they need the space for the hot water cylinder. Okay. And less efficient when the water is not heated. Okay, water, when heating the hot water tank, as water is not heated and used at the point of demand. So when they, sometimes that you want to use lots of hot water, you need to wait sometimes to heat up the water. Okay, and limited hot water, because you have stored inside the water cylinder, hot water cylinder. So if we use all taps are on, sometimes you have to wait because they need to heat up the whole cylinder again. Okay, so that's the disadvantage of system boiler. Okay, now we want to compare these three systems. Okay, let's look at this video. Combi, conventional, and also system. What are the difference between these three systems?
Welcome to Home Tree, home of the stress-free boiler installation. What is a condensing boiler? If you purchased a boiler after 2005, chances are that it is a condensing boiler, a high-efficiency boiler. Rather than being a type of boiler, such as combi boiler, system boiler, or conventional boiler, the term condensing refers to the way it functions. There are three main types of the gas boiler: combination or combi, system, and regular. If you are unsure about the type of boiler you currently have, these two simple questions will help. 1. Do you have a hot water cylinder? No, you have a combi boiler. Yes, you have a regular or system boiler. 2. On the boiler, is there a pressure gauge? No, you have a regular boiler. Yes, you have a system boiler. Boilers can be confusing, especially when you are looking for a new boiler. When you know a little about the boiler types, discovering the right replacement gas boiler for your home can be easy. A combination boiler is a simple unit that delivers both hot water and heating, which makes them great for small to medium-sized homes. Combi boilers heat water directly from the mains whenever you turn on your hot tap. If you are buying a new combi boiler, you don't need a hot water storage cylinder or a cold water storage tank in the loft, so they save space too. A system boiler needs a cylinder for storing hot water, but they don't take up space in your loft. With a system boiler, some of the main heating and hot water system components, such as the pump, are built into the boiler itself, so it's quick and easy to install. A system boiler is ideal for homes with 2 or more bathrooms, as it can allow you to have multiple showers running at the same time. A conventional boiler, also called regular, open vent or traditional boilers, need both a hot water cylinder and a tank in the loft to store cold water. This type of boiler is perfect for homes where a lot of hot water is used at the same time and are particularly well suited to low water pressure areas and installing into systems which have lots of old radiators. Just by asking some simple questions on our website, Home Tree can discover which type of boiler, boiler model, make and size is suitable for you in 90 seconds.
Okay, so they give you the idea on the how to separate these three type of boiler. Okay, so combi, no water tank, no water hot water cylinder. For system, they have the hot water cylinder but no water tank. For conventional, they have both water tank and also the hot water cylinder. Okay, so that's the main component that you need to separate, and you need to know the advantage and disadvantage. Okay, these are some of the questions. Okay, we look into the principle of system boiler, okay, and so on. So we'll discuss this in the next live session. Okay, next we're going to do the industrial application boilers. So I see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.